A Sunday, Monday, Cappy Days. Tuesday, Wednesday, Cappy Days. Emily Kaplan joins Jay today, bringing the NHL news to you.
She's back. Here she is, Emily Kaplan. It's been far too long since we've seen Emily Kaplan. She's been very busy covering the National Hockey League for our friends at ESPN, and she'll be part of our Trade Center coverage this Friday on TSN. Just a reminder to you, ESPN owns 1/3 of TSN. Think about that. That's the maximum they're allowed to own. Emily Kaplan, great to see you. We start with the Carolina Hurricanes. We're going to break into the American stories here with you. That's what you do for us. You help us with the American stories. Carolina's been in the news pretty heavily lately, Emily, mostly because of their pursuit of Elias Pettersson, which seemed to lead to an Elias Pettersson contract extension, so it worked out great for Pat Brisson and J.P. Barry in that sense. But with the Carolina Hurricanes missing out on Pettersson, Emily, are they still looking to land some sort of big fish and really go for it at the deadline?
I'm so honored, but the correct spelling of honored, Honored, to be your America correspondent once again. And let's talk about the Carolina Hurricanes, because this pursuit of Elias Pettersson was not in a vacuum. They've been big game hunting for the last few years now. I mean, I go back to Jack Eichel. They were serious about him. Patrick Kane. If you shift to this year's trade deadline, if Marc-Andre Fleury was available, they would be pursuing him. And I know they've been keeping tabs on Pittsburgh and Jake Gensel and Riley Smith, but they've missed out on all of these guys for various reasons. And I think it's unsophisticated to give just one. You know, sometimes it is because their earned turtle value is different than the market value. In layman's terms, that means they can be a little cheap. They view things a little bit differently. Sometimes guys haven't wanted to play in Raleigh, and sometimes it's just been bad luck. But the common theme here is they look for all ways to make this team better. And it's a really good team. It's like a championship level team. They just haven't been able to get over that hump. So I expect them to keep going in this direction. However, I think that they're going to start having to be a little more creative if they want to take this big swing at the deadline. And they have 13 players right now that are up for new contracts this summer. And again, they do business a little bit differently than everyone else. They value guys a little bit differently. So I think they brought up those guys' names to other teams saying, hey, if we want to execute our big swing, maybe you take one of our guys and then we can get a better impact guy.
Speaking of being creative, Emily, Julien Brisebois is going to have to be creative here if he wants that at the deadline. Not a lot of assets, not a lot of cap room for the Tampa Bay Lightning, and yet Noah Hanifin has pretty much let it be known that that would be his preferred destination and that maybe he'd like to sign there long term. So if it's not Hanifin, what could Brisebois be looking at to potentially keep the Stanley Cup window going for the Tampa Bay Lightning?
Yeah, it's like death, taxes, and then one trade deadline where there's one big open secret where, one player wants to go to one market. We're all wondering whether it happens. The thing about Hanifin is he is actually a fit in Tampa Bay, right? They're not with Mikhail Sergachev right now. They can spend their cap space. No, they don't have a lot of prospects and draft picks left because they've traded them all for championships. But we've seen in the past them willing to give up their limited resource they have if they get a guy to sign long term, and that obviously would be Hanifin here. But I'm just curious because I feel like this is such an inflection season in general for the Tampa Bay Lightning. It's probably one of the biggest reasons why Brisebois tabled those contract talks with Steven Stamkos over the summer, because he said, let's see how good our team is, if we can keep going this way, or if we're going to need a soft reset. So, Jay, I just feel like these next 4 days are going to be so critical for us to find out how Julien Brisebois feels about his team. In some way, yes, he is going to address that blue line. They have to. But how aggressive they are will tell us whether he thinks they can keep going this way or they need to take a step back before they can go forward again.
And then their Florida cousins in Florida, the Miami team, the Panthers, on top of the NHL. They look like the team to beat in the East right now, Emily Kaplan. Are they looking to make a big ad by Friday?
I love talking about the Panthers directly after the Lightning because for so many years, Florida envied what Tampa Bay had. It was this destination guys all wanted to play in because it was good for their families. The weather was good. The taxes are good. And most importantly, they had that winning culture. And over the last 2 years, Florida has legitimately asserted itself as a rival here because we're seeing what they're doing on the ice. The culture is building. And then they just opened this gorgeous new practice facility that's so close to where the players live that they're literally taking their golf carts to get there. And it's like, yeah, this has become the destination. So they've been very aggressive. Just look at the season alone. They made a really strong pitch to Patrick Kane. They're in on Jake Gensel. They're hoping that situation with Noah Hannafin doesn't trend with him going to the Tampa Bay Lightning, and they're hoping that maybe they can scoop him. But Bill Zito's got a lot of cap space right now. He does not have a lot of prospects to give up or draft picks to give up. They've traded those the last 2 years. So I think they're also looking at the creative department where they're saying, okay, we've got a bunch of UFAs on our roster. Give us a call about any of them not named Sam Reinhart, and maybe we can trade one out for an impact player. I also think they would be just as comfortable just getting like a depth forward and riding it out with this really good group. But they're going to get one of these big guys eventually.
Let's talk about the New York Rangers. Emily, as you know, they've had a terrific season, very much in the hunt for the President's Trophy. Interestingly enough, their owner, James Dolan, who's a real interesting guy, there were rumors that he didn't want to part with that Rangers first-round pick because the upcoming NHL draft is going to be at the Sphere in Las Vegas. And James Dolan is a part owner of the Sphere in Las Vegas. And that seems like, given James Dolan's history, Emily Kaplan, that seems like something that he legitimately might not want to do. Is there any truth to that whatsoever?
Yeah, the Sphere is his baby. He loves music. It's going to be an incredible event. But when I dug around and really talked to other teams about what the Rangers' conversations with them have been, it does seem that the Rangers are open to moving that first-round pick. So, no, I think that is false right now. They just want to make sure that if they move their first-round pick, the player is worth it. We know what they're looking for here. It's multiple forwards. They need to fill that center spot that Filipino left behind, and also right wing at Blake Wheeler. They've been in on so many different interesting players. They've definitely been having conversations with Anaheim about Frank Petrano and Adam Henrique. I do know they've been in on some of these Seattle guys, Alexander Wenberg. I think they're waiting out to hear if they get him or not. They really wanted Tommy Novak in Nashville. And I also know that the Rangers are open to moving Kaapo Kakko, even though that's not their preference. I think they want to table that decision to over the summer. So the Rangers are looking to do a lot of things. We'll see if they give up their first-round pick or not, but it does seem they're at least open to it, and I think we're all going to have a good time at the Sphere no matter who's picking what.
Well, Emily, it's not going to be at the Sphere, but our Trade Center coverage will be in Studio 6 over here, and you'll be joining us remotely from Bristol this Friday. So we're looking forward to seeing you on TSN this Friday. And it's been so great to have you on the show again. So thanks for this, and we'll talk to you real soon, okay?
It's always a pleasure. Thank you for that theme song. I'm not going to lie. I might have listened to it like once or twice in the absence since I've been on the show last, so I appreciate you.